What's up? Welcome back. This is episode 3. Seems like series is actually doing pretty well, if I may say so. Um, so let's keep going. Let's keep at it. So we've talked about anger. We've talked about revenge. Beings in the first episode, I kind of mentioned some emotions that you feel through a breakup. So let's keep on that track for a little bit longer. All right. So we've talked about anger, we've talked about revenge, let's talk about sadness. Alright? Sadness is a common one in day-to-day life, but in breakups it's kind of one that you should probably talk about. Because it kind of ties into the other emotions that you feel, like anger and revenge and stuff like that. So when you go through a breakup, you feel all these emotions, like I've said before, but sadness is probably the main one that feeds all the other emotions. Because you're not yourself in a sense. You're not thinking clearly. Basically, you're not thinking rationally. You're not making the best decisions, and so on. And in that sadness, a lot of times what happens is you start thinking about the, the memories that you made with that person. You go back to every memory that you have ever made with that person. You start going through the photos you still have, or maybe the text messages and all that stuff. Yeah, you're gonna feel sadness, all these emotions for a little while. But one thing that I can recommend that you don't do is don't let the memories or the text messages overwhelm you, because a lot of times that's what happens, and then you let the other emotions take over. You can't do that, because it's just a vicious cycle, and you'll just be in a vicious time loop, so to speak, that you'll never get out of if you don't do this right off the bat. Yeah, I get it. You're gonna be sad. You're gonna be upset because you lost the one person that you thought was gonna be there for the rest of your life. Yeah, okay, I understand that. But what you gotta know is you wanna move on from this. You wanna get better. You wanna better yourself. You wanna be a better person. You wanna overcome this sadness. You wanna overcome this breakup, right? Okay, so here's what you gotta do. You gotta let the memories fade into the darkness, in a sense. You gotta let yourself not read the text messages that were sent back and forth. You gotta not relive the past, because the past is in the past. You're in the present, and you gotta move on. Because if you keep going over past text messages or memories that you had with that person, pictures, whatever you are doing, or you know, reliving, you gotta not do that. Yeah, it's okay to be sad about it, for a little while, but eventually, after a couple weeks, maybe a month, you gotta get over it. You gotta start getting over it. But to help you get a jump start on that is just don't read the text messages. Don't look for the photos. Just think about the good times you have with that person. All right, now it's over. It wasn't meant to be. So maybe this is a sign that we weren't compatible. So, all right, I guess it's time to move on. Yeah, that it's easier said than done. Yeah, I know. I get it. I understand it. But just try. Just try to do that. If you want to get over a breakup, you just gotta do it. Because if you don't, what happens is you're getting a vicious time cycle, time loop that you're just never gonna get out of. Basically, sadness starts it, then anger comes in play, and then revenge. It just, none of it's good. So if you just cut it off at the past, or if you just cut it off at the past, you'll be fine. Like I said, easier said than done. Just try to do what. Just try to take my advice. I mean, it's gonna be difficult. I understand, but all I'm saying is, if you don't, like I said it before, you don't have to listen to anything I say. I'm just suggesting things because I've lived it, done it. But sadness starts it, then anger comes in play, and then revenge, and you'll never get out of that vicious cycle. Alright? If you do the things that I suggested, or in your own way you do them, maybe not exactly the way I said, but in your own way you do them, I guarantee you'll be better. Or somewhat better. You'll be on the right track, let's just say that. But I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care.